Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As you begin to log in here today, good morning, good morning, good morning. As you log in, drop it in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from, along with those affirmations. Drop it in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from, along with those affirmations. We'll be getting this call started in just a moment. This is Tasha M. Dyer, the Trade Whisperer, creator of the BYOB Cash Out Strategy. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. All right, so as you log in, you should be dropping it in the chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You definitely should be dropping it in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from. Make sure, we drop those affirmations in the chat, today. And I'm gonna just go ahead and we're gonna set the tone and set the stage. Today, we're gonna analyze, we're gonna go through, we're gonna see what's out there. But we have news coming up in between the call. We've been waiting on today. We've been waiting on today. So today and Friday, obviously Friday is non-farm payroll. We'll dive into that in just a moment, dive just a little bit deeper, help you understand exactly what we're talking about. But before we do any of that, let's get our minds right, all right? Let's get that mindset right. So good morning, good morning. Good morning, Jacksonville. Good morning, London. Good morning, London. Good morning, Columbus. Good morning, Cleveland. Good morning, Cleveland. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Minnesota. Good morning, Cleveland. Good morning. I see Cleveland on YouTube. Good morning. Good morning, Chattanooga. Good morning. Guys, as you log on, drop it in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from. And let's make sure we do those affirmations as well, right? Our affirmations are important no matter how we think about it or what we feel. I'm going to tell you every day, I'm going to tell you all the time that we want to affirm. We want to make sure that the mindset is there. I am an educated BYOB master trader, anointed for wealth. I see professional educated. There we go. You're taking it up a notch. You're taking it to the next step. So yes, I am an educated, right? BYOB master trader, anointed for wealth. So I am the signal. All my trades end in profit. I am 777. And also, good morning, London. I see you. So yes, you just want to make sure that we are operating in that mindset, that skill set. You want to, the trading part is the easy part. I just want you guys to know that I see $100 days on here. Discipline, patience, profit, right? The trading is easy, right? I don't care what anybody tells you. Trading is easy. Your mindset is what has to be overcome. It's your mindset. And that's why you see some people grasp this and they're so successful at it. And then you see others that are like, well, I don't know. It's your mindset. So I'm gonna encourage you guys to walk in a positive energy. I'm gonna encourage you to vibrate a little bit higher. I'm going to encourage you to professionally develop yourself, pour into yourself, right? Feed yourself. What are you feeding yourself, right? Let's operate in that mindset and that mentality, right? And so as you begin to do that, your trade account is going to evolve because the trading is the easy part. And so let's go ahead. Let me get my screen share together as we dive in here this morning. So yes, I see you, Jersey. Good morning. Let me see. Get this news up here. Let's go ahead and dive in. Now, if this is your first time here with us this morning, if it's your first time, let me get a 111. And if you're still learning how to cash out, let me get a 222. Oh, welcome, and welcome back. Welcome back. All right. So I'm going to click refresh on here. We're going to go here and check our news. So And we're gonna know now as we dive into this, and as we check our news. It's very important to note, and it's very important to note that today is Wednesday. This week is non-farm payroll. Yes, I saw the comments about last night on the chat. How do I trade non-farm payroll? You don't just trade we don't trade news. We understand how things economically impact the news, right? Or how the news impact the market. Let me say it that way. So we don't go trade the news. So how you analyze and what happens in the charts and what you're doing, none of that's going to change. It's all going to be the same, right? You just need to know that there's going to be a nice little push of liquidity that comes into the market. So we want to understand how things are impacted fundamentally. That's what we are. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want to understand is how is this impacted fundamentally? And like, how is this fundamentals going to impact the market? What's going, how is this going to push through the market? And that's where your mindset should be. So it's we do not quote unquote trade news. Okay. Now, if you do, I don't teach that, never going to teach it. So I know some people do, and I salute you. We would Be Your Own Bank operate from skill set, right? We operate from non-emotional trading. We operate from ensuring that, we take trades based on what the market says. We ride the wave of the market. So that's what we do. But we don't take trades until we're comfortable and confident in the trade. And we understand the fundamentals because of how it moves the market. So now, for those of you all, before we finish doing this, for my skilled traders, if you're new and you're not skilled, I don't bother with this, but this has been moving. I just want to kind of give you a little heads up. Now, of course, it might slow down during this call because that's what it does to us, right? But I just want to let you know that the indices have been kind of moving this morning. So if you are a skilled trader while we're going through this, look, this one had a nice drop. This is a new hour candle right here. So they're moving. So I don't know, even a German 30. So you might want to pay attention to those. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump back over here. I just want to let you know they've been moving this morning a little bit. So let's go ahead and jump back into the news, and we're going to walk through the strategy as always, but if there's some momentum or if there's some movement, I want to make sure you're in a position to where you can grab it. All right. Now, so let's talk. So this morning, what's going to happen is we have this ADP, right? You have ADP. Now, somebody asked the other day about FOMC. There was an entire call last night on what FOMC was. Now, the way that that's the why behind the what. That's the definition. But how does it impact the market? What did it do? Well, we saw 200, 300 pip move in the 2-day time frame. That's what we saw. So the point I want you to take away from this is what news does is you can determine what it is, and you can click the button, and you want to understand the big picture behind what's happening. You really want to grasp it. Then yes, you want to go back and watch that call. But what you want to begin to pay attention to from a trading perspective is what this is and the fact that it's going to have impact on the market. So we know that ADP feeds into non-farm payroll, right, which is Friday. So this actually is going to feed into what we're looking for. And if it's feeding into what we're looking for, then it's like I said, it's not necessarily about it's not necessarily about like understanding every definition or everything behind it. It's understanding that this is going to make the market move. Like that's the simplicity of what we're talking about. Okay. So notice that there should be some movement that takes place. Now, I'm not even going to try to predict, right, the direction of the market. I'm not going to try to predict to tell you which way it's going to go. We're not going to do that because it tells you right here. If it's a high reading, it's positive and bullish for USD. While if the reading is low, it's negative or bearish. That's what you're looking for. That's how the market is going to align. And is it going to move? Yes. Is it going to put liquidity in the market? Yes. But what you're doing is you're gonna see how this impacts the market, and you're gonna allow the strategy, you're gonna allow it. So we don't necessarily have to get that initial push, or and if some of you are, you will start understanding how to grab and how to trade at that push as you perfect your skill set. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time on that this morning, so you guys understand, because we're not going to be on a call together on Friday. All right, we're not going to be here, so we only got tomorrow left. So I'm not doing a special call for NFP. It's just this. Do you want to understand? That's what it is. So all right, so let's go ahead and dive in, and I'm gonna try to find a clean chart. So like that markup still sitting there. Let's go try to find a clean chart. So we're gonna come over here. See US 30 actually triggered. So if you're watching those, like I said, we'll come back. I just want to walk you guys through this. So GBP, right? GBP. Let's actually, I got AUDJPY from the scanner as well. So let's come on over here. Let's do something different this morning. Let's do something different. Or maybe not, because of the way I look at how the market looks. Oh yeah, we can. This right here. So nobody identified themselves as a 111, but even if you are, what I want you guys to understand is what we do is we focus on skill sets. So here with the 15-minute chart, right, is where we begin. And so this is where the BYOB cash out strategy began. So here, we start on a 15-minute chart. You can begin to learn, right, support and resistance lines. You can begin to understand support and resistance lines, right? You can begin to, elevate your skill set. So, but until you do, I'm not touching crypto, I'm not touching indices, I'm not touching anything, because all of those things I need to understand support and resistance lines. So this is why we kind of start here. And I don't like consolidation. So I don't even want to start teaching you from that perspective. Let me see. Okay, so this had been selling. That's what this had been doing on a higher time frame. So we can kind of look at this. That's a correction and a pullback. That's what you're seeing. So what I want to do is, we have three indicators. You have your stochastic, you have Hikanashi candles, and you have a PSAR. All right. You have a stochastic, Hikanashi candles, and a PSAR. So with that, so I'm looking for this to cross over and cross down around the 80, right? That's what I'm looking for. So that blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum around the 80, blue line cross over the red and an upward momentum around the 20. Now, let me show you how we would not have taken a trade and how we would have taken a trade. So we'll have two of them. So here, where this blue line cross over the red, I'm gonna drop this right here. And then I'm gonna come over here around the 20, where this blue line crossed over the red, all right? So what you're looking for in this situation, I'm looking for a buy. In this situation, I'm looking for a sell, right? I'm around the 20, I'm around the 80. So that's what you're looking for. Does that mean I'm going to take a trade? No, absolutely not. That means I have to analyze it. So now let's come on over here and let's look at my Hikanashi candles. So you notice that I never had, right? Look at this. My momentum is moving up. I have a green candle with a flat bottom, and I have my PSAR flipped to the bottom, and all of that's right here. Okay. So all of that's taking place right here. Notice when I had a flat bottom, I didn't have a PSAR. When I finally got my PSAR, actually, you do have a flat bottom right there. I was like looking at this one. So, but you want to make sure, because even let's just say that wasn't a flat bottom. This is where it would have went, because that's what like I said, I was looking at the other candle. But that's ultimately where, you would have been. That's where you would have gone, right? That's where it would have started. But we do have both of them at this point. So that's the alignment of the strategy. Now let's do the sell. Blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum. Now, it's not till I get over here that I have both in alignment, okay? Now, your stop loss is always going to be below or above the PSAR. I'm telling you that now, even though we're not done analyzing it, because I always forget to come back and do the stop loss. So not on the PSAR, below the PSAR, right? So yes, we use a stop loss. You just charge it. All right, let me make sure you guys stay muted. Thank you. So, all right, so now let's go over here and let's go to the hour, because we want to check our confluence. Now, with this, This is very important, okay? And I picked a different pair other than GBP because that's ultimately what we've been using, all right? Because you come here, it looks like we have confluence over here. I drop down, I don't have confluence right there. You see my 5 minutes? So we got, now see, I couldn't have perfectly planned this out myself. So I don't have confluence right here. You see how my 5 minute is selling? My 5 minute is selling. So that 5 minute needs to still be buying. Every time we look at one, they always somewhere in there end up working out. Well, I tell you guys all the time that the 5 minute could be an indication, right? That it's a correction or it's a change that's happening. There's a change about to come. So if I look here, you can see that that's a sell. So we don't enter that trade right there. We don't take that trade right there. And so you have to wait. And so you cannot take that trade right there. And so I'm showing you this because a lot of you all will turn around and you try to take these trades and then you're mad at somebody, right? You're mad at somebody. Well, that was not that trade was just not ready. Now let's come over here and look at this one. And I'm so glad because I need you guys to see this. This one gets you all a lot, and this is what I mean about, not forcing a trade or, really just paying attention. Because yes, this is red. All right. We want to walk. This is red when I'm looking at confluence. But what is my stochastic doing? I need alignment on my higher. I need alignment on from one time frame to the other, but I also need alignment on my time frame. So even though this candle is red, this is where a lot of you all go push the button and you completely ignore the stochastic. My stochastic is my leading indicator. My stochastic is in a buy. Let's push this over. Right? My stochastic is buying. So if my stochastic is buying, my leading indicator is buying, why am I taking a sell? No. Let it go, right? Walk away from it. Wait till everything's in alignment, okay? So it does not matter that is. Now, did it ultimately eventually get there? Did we have our confluence? Absolutely. But did you have it right here? Because what would have happened, all right, is you would have taken this, right? And then see how it wasn't ready? You would have taken that. We would have put our stop loss above the PSAR somewhere. And guess what? When you put that stop loss above that PSAR, not on the PSAR, but somewhere above the PSAR, unless your stop loss has a lot of cushion, you got stopped out. You see how this came, even if I put it here, you see how this came back and wicked out and tapped it, and then you would have come back down. So you would have stopped out. So you would have to have cushion your stop loss. Questions, comments, testimonies. So we always show one that work out, but I just wanted to show you one that we analyzed, right? I wanted to show you one that got analyzed. All right. And that's important. You got to look at that. All right. No questions. Let's go analyze. Let's go look. All right. So, oh, no, I wanted this one first. I wanted this one for a reason. All right. So let me get rid of this line. Let me get rid of these arrows. And let's look. So get rid of it. So this triggered, I'm going to pause this. And this triggered, right, on the 4 hour. And that triggered on the 4 hour not too long ago. All right, that's where that triggered. So now, where this triggered, let's go ahead and look at it on the 4 hour. So once again, we can trade from any perspective, right? So you notice that this is at a support. You see this rejection that happened right here? Rejection. Now, as we do this, questions, comments, testimonies, drop them in the chat, obviously. So what you're seeing, right, this triggered on a 4 hour. So that means that it's always caught in a correction. Now, this is what my daily is doing. My daily is selling, but look at how significant this support line is, okay? So here, we rejected. Obviously, we wicked out. Here, we rejected. back in March, and we rejected here. So on my higher time frame, on my daily, it looked like the market is trying to turn around, right? So no matter what your trading style, it's great setup. But we still have to respect the fact that we're oversold, all right? Look at what's happening on my hour. We still have to respect that. So let me show you what the harmonic scanner has triggered. So on the scanner, right, AUD, I got the numbers. I'm not about to pull back through here. AUD, JPY, there it is. So now this is how you implement, right? We just trained on this on Thursday. So this is how we turn around and we kind of implement it. So now this should actually make sense where you're actually looking at both of these, okay? My 4-hour triggered, very valid, right? It definitely makes sense that it should continue to sell. But before we continue to sell, let's just go ahead and put this in here. Let's put this in here. 8.2. Did I put that up too high? 82998. All right. Now, these are reversal patterns, right? So remember all those patterns in the market that we talk about? Where did I? Oh, no, I wrote it wrong. I think it should be 8.3. I might need to go check it. Check the number. Yep, that's it. And you see how the line disappeared? Now, do we have any questions? Because we're actually implementing what we learned on Thursday. So now, does that make sense? That this has a possibility that it can pull back up to here before it goes back, before it breaks through here, right? So this is, I'm gonna change this one to orange because that is our vibrato. So you know how it's always called a correction. You see how the corrections are starting to happen down here. So even on my 5-minute, I have everything there in alignment. Don't quite have alignment right here, right? You're starting to see the 15 starting to change, okay? We're starting to reject. So this is a valid trigger. This always called a correction. My correction on a 4-hour is going to be much greater than the correction, or much more significant than a correction on my 15 or 5-minute. All right. So as you see this, okay, and you see where this is beginning to pull up, I can't guarantee you it's going to pull up to here. I'm not even going to try to tell you that I guarantee it's going to pull all the way up to take profit 3. You know, I'm not even going to try to make you that promise. But what I am going to tell you is it makes sense, right? Based on what we're looking at in the market. Any questions or comments or testimonies on what you're seeing, right? With that. Anything? Do you guys see that? All right, we see. Can I get a 555? If you're with me, it's Wednesday. We're not sleepy. Wednesday is where we get a lot of liquidity. We're not sleepy this morning. We're awake, we're alert, and we're ready for this market to move. There we go. So that's a possible and potential setup, right, for you guys. So we're awake, we're ready, right? That's what we are. So all I see is blue, exactly. So if you do take this trade, like if you try to go past, if it turns around and pulls up significantly like we want it to, if you were on AJ, see right here. Now, I need to look at that one too. No, I do have both of them on my notes. So, but this is the one we're talking about, AJ. So if this pulls up, then I'm just telling you right now that you're going to want to secure your profit anytime you see that, right? Anytime you see that, because right now we definitely don't have that. So we'll probably end up getting up to about right here, I know. All right. So like I said, I have that one on my notes. This one from yesterday, but we're not. That's from yesterday. Let's come on over here. Let me pull up that one. Like I said, I got that one on my notes. All right. So once all our USDs are kind of doing that same thing. All right. They're all kind of doing the same thing. And we'll go back to, when we look at GBP USD, this our markup from yesterday. You notice how this is that scanner, right? This is that scanner, but it never made it up. So that's because our force and momentum with the US dollar is strong, but this never made it up. So it looked like it tried, but it never did. And so we've been kind of sitting down here where it looked like it's trying. So you notice that we were oversold yesterday, and that stochastic had to kind of reset. Same thing is happening with this one, all right? Same thing is happening with this trade. So they're sitting on a support line, right? Sitting on the support line, if you look to the left. And so this is actually one I would pay attention to as well. I'll be watching all of these USDs because obviously we have that news that's actually taking place in between the market. So you can see that we're about to get a new 30-minute candle here. So this has moved a little bit since we've been on a call, not much. Look at how this is big, got a little correction happening. And, that's what you're waiting on to enter the trade if you haven't already taken a trade or you weren't already in it. You kind of see where the NASDAQ is pulling back down. And I can't explain you see S&P, that's why I told my skilled traders to be paying attention to this. I cannot explain the momentum why is it moving so early, but I can tell you that there's a lot of anticipation with these reports that are coming out today. And so sometimes when that happens, we do see movement a little bit earlier than, it's only, is it 3 hours now that there is reports come out? So you start seeing some movement a little bit earlier. So if you obviously traded on the indices, you want to wait until we get that push to push it back down, right? So that would be your entry point because everything else is definitely in alignment. And remember, that's that boundary area we drew up yesterday, that support line. So I want you to pay attention to that if you do end up taking that trade. All right, so let's go actually analyze, because no need to analyze all of these. They look the same, all right, for the most part. This one, Euro USD, just hasn't pulled down as much as GBP USD. Then, of course, you have AUD USD. They all look the same. And so in all of these USDs, I want you to pay attention to, because we're going to get some movement in them because we have the news coming out here today, and that's going to impact it. So let's actually begin and let's look at and let's analyze some of these, unless you guys have questions, comments, or testimonies. All right. No, that's definitely not what I said. I showed it because it's moving. You don't have to wait until 9:30. That's like hours and hours away from now, right? So you can trade this anytime. That's not the only time you can trade it. Don't overthink it, okay? So don't overthink it. What I'm telling you is, even when I pulled up US 30, if you wanted to take a trade, you need to wait for this alignment, because what I said is it is moving. Now, why we don't normally go over it on a 5 o'clock call is because the market is normally stagnant when it comes to the indices, right? This is that, it's kind of, I'm not even trying to explain why it does it. The reality is from consistency, the market is typically stagnant for indices during this time frame. Scalpers, obviously, you see some people get in and out, a point here, a point there, 10 points here, 5 points there, right? And if that's how you trade, that's fantastic. But from a movement, from a movement standpoint, we don't do it a lot here. But I mean, the market resets for indices at 6 o'clock at 6 p.m. Eastern. So, when the market closes, then it closes for about an hour, and then obviously it starts moving again. Whereas, if you were trading on a stock, the market would completely stop, right? The market is going to completely stop because the market's closed. But because of contracts and things of that nature, we could still trade on a movement. And so there's movement in the evening on the indices, it's just not as fast. So there's definitely movement. And that's when I actually know some people like to trade it and prefer to trade them in the evenings. and at night because it's technically closed and was moving its contracts. So the fundamental impact is not as great in it, during it like right now. So it's like the market is starting to slow down with all of that. And then we'll have Wall Street open up here at 9:30. All right. And I know it's not that I said it, but what happens is we overthink. We overthink. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I appreciate that comment, because we really begin to overthink some things. And I don't want you guys there. I want you guys just to feel this market and allow yourself to learn how to ride the wave. That's ultimately what I'm looking for, and for you all to be able to do. All right. So here, EuroCAD, let's go ahead and analyze. So we're just gonna go through a few of these this morning. This is where we are. Let me make sure I check all the chats because I do want you guys to drop questions if you have any, okay? So here, let's go ahead and let me put this call price. So you put the call price. Now, don't use it. The call price is not necessarily your entry point, okay? Let me be clear. Your entry point is when everything aligns. This is where it triggers. This is where it triggers, okay? So it triggered for a buy, and that happened 13 minutes ago. So somewhere like right up in this area, what time is it? 31. We see we just got a new 30-minute candle. So before we can do that, you see how that pulled up a little bit? Let's see what this one says. So what you're seeing here is that correction that's taking place. So that's why you're still kind of waiting on that. All right, let me jump back over here. So here, like I said, we just got a new candle. So you see where this is pulling in that sell, and now that buy is starting to try to trigger. My stochastic is not quite there with me yet. So I come here and I see, okay, that's a valid buy. Am I beginning the curve? Absolutely, but it's still a valid trigger. Let me say trigger, not buy, because I don't need nobody pushing the button without proper analyzation. Be like, you said it was a valid buy. So it's a valid trigger. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the hour. The hour is definitely buying. Let's look at my 4 hour. Now I'm not looking at the trigger was on a 5, which means my confluence is on a 30. However, I need to know what is happening in the big grand scheme of things. That's not determining how I enter my trade and if I have confluence or not. This is determining where I am and if I would even press through with a buy. So you notice that everything that happened up here, it was like a reach. So that's gonna make me look a little bit deeper. That's gonna make me try to figure out really what's going on. And voila, I think this is beautiful. When I look here, right, I come over here. So you see, I want you guys to get in the habits, because when you guys start looking at trades, this is what you guys are doing, right? You're like a zoned all the way in here. And you have no idea where you are in the market, like none, no idea, right? You have absolutely no idea what's going on. So I want you guys to start getting in a habit, because what I see here, right? So now I cannot see the candles, and that's okay. What I'm looking for right now is structure and location. I'm looking for location and structure. That's actually what I'm looking for at this current moment. So if I'm looking for structure and location, I see rejection here. I see a nice drop that took place over here. So what it appears to me is that this market is trying to turn around. This was March of 20. So this market has not been here, right? It surpassed and it came up through here in March of 20. So now what it's saying to me is this is trying to turn around. So this is quit pushing downward and it's trying to turn around. So now here's my trading styles, right? You see, I can take a 5-minute trigger no matter what your trading style is, and you have trades. So if your trading style is in and out, right? Scalpers, you're going to be able to, when that manifests, you take the trade, right? You take the trade and you allow the alignment to take place, right? So you allow all of that to take place. And then of course your 5-minute is your tighter entry. If you are intraday, then you understand that zone to zone. Now, if you are a swing trader or, just somebody who is waiting, you're waiting on this clearance right? Or you might be all combined. So then you have multiple trades. So you're waiting on this clearance of all of this because we don't get caught up in this. You see how my other traders will be using this as, based on your trading style. I'm looking here. However, I'm waiting on this clearance because I'm waiting on this to start pulling back up, right? That's what you're waiting on. Any questions on that? I just took a 5-minute trigger and talked to, and everybody's trading style was addressed. All right, none? Okay. Let me make sure. All right. So let's go ahead and do another one. Let's look at Euro NZD. So I didn't take over. Anytime, so take profits. Take profits are nothing more than support and resistance lines. So yeah, take profits are nothing more than support and resistance lines. So you just use the market to determine how far up you want to go. Like I just erased that one. But if I come back over here, like when we were looking at this one, I said, let's see about, you see, look how this pulling back. So when you see how, like, even though the harmonic scanner said 1, 2, 3, take profits are nothing more than support and resistance lines. That's all they are. And so if you look, if we go to a higher time frame, what you see is, do you see that that's a resistance, support, resistance line? Do you see here? Like if I look left and I keep going, it's nothing more than a support and resistance line. You just have to determine. So it's a big misconception. Once again, I told you we get caught up, and this is based on your question, but not based on your question. We get caught up on the terminology, right? Like, oh, there's a take profit 1, 2, and 3, which means I have 3 different trades. Like, however you do it is how you do it. But we get caught up on the terminology and not the understanding, right? And so the understanding says to me that the market should come up to about right here. Now, my personality is, do I do only one to the first one and I'm okay? Or do I try to ride it out and secure my profit? Or do I do to the first one and do it 2 or 3 times? Where I can say, AUD times 5, right? So do I twin trade? Like, how do I do this? That's where our personalities come in. That does not mean it's a guarantee that I'm going to hit that third one. Okay, that means that this is what the market aligns. This is where the pullback should happen based on, X, Y, and Z. And so honestly, if you really want to put it in perspective, let's put this one in perspective and we'll go back and analyze it. And when the market's not moving the way that it's not moving because we have that such an impactful news at 8:15 or days like today, NFP week is typically a slow week anyway, then we'll take the time to walk through and make sure you understand what's going on and make sure you get your questions answered. So, ultimately what's really happening, if I just want to give you the big picture, is if I look at this, right, we already identified it. This is attempting to pull down for a sell. We know that, the market, the harmonic scanner uses Fibonacci. What is a Fibonacci? A Fibonacci retracement. So that's a retracement, which means it pulls back a certain percentage. The market does not just go in a straight line. All right. You see, we pull back here, we pull back here. It pulled back already a little bit here. So the market cannot just drop. Like if I look over here at what took place on this, before we can see, that's FOMC right there. So if I look though, and I look at this market, if I'm looking at this, where this pulled up in this area, like that was a nice ride. And, this was a very, very nice ride. That's why I say it's based on your question, but not based on your question. This was a very nice ride. Very, very nice ride. However, I need you to look in there. It could keep pulling back at different points. It's not just going to go straight up. And so that's ultimately what we need to pay attention. That's why both of those triggers make sense. So, that's why both of those triggers make sense, right? So, this one now, and that's what I mean. So don't separate it. Support and resistance lines, take profits. They're not separate. They're not separate. You know, there's not a take profit or a support and resistance line. They're not different. They're not separate. A take profit is a support and resistance line, right? Just like a pivot is a support and resistance line. What do I tell you about support and resistance? They are your lifeline. You know, they are your lifeline. These are things you want to master. Like, these are things you want to understand. It is your lifeline. It's all us. Even when we do trends, it is a support and resistance line in there where you get that pullback that happens and where you get those touches, because a trend line, we're looking for touches. So those touches happen at support and resistance lines. A support and resistance line is your lifeline. So this is a take profit, but it's also a support and resistance line. So it's one and the same. Take profits are support and resistance lines. So hopefully that brought a little clarity. And let's go back. Found my trigger. All right. So questions, comments, testimonies, questions, comments. All right. So once again, like I said, the market is definitely going to be a little slow, and we know that, and we're okay with that, right? We are okay with that this morning. So now, here we go, Euro NZD. Let's put our call price on here. And this is what you guys just come through and analyze these. Like, you've been doing that harmonic scanner training, but just start coming through and just analyzing these, right? And then start looking at the market. And I promise you, we want clarity. Do you guys know that the first is, whoa, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. The first is tomorrow. So that's exciting, right? Because what do we start tomorrow? We've already been doing $100 days, but we're going to start compounding. Now, you guys are going to be at different levels. Some of you guys will start the compounding for your 6 figures in 6 months. Some of you all will, yes, the first is tomorrow. So, and some of you guys are going to 6 months to 6 figures, absolutely. And some of you guys will begin to start, focusing on $100 days so you can compound and start your 6 months. It's just all going to be based on where you are. All right. All going to be based on where you are. I'm excited because I'm going to start from scratch with you all. I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to open me a new trade account. I'm going to do the whole 9. Like, that's what I'm doing. Everything. New trade account, new everything. So we're going to roll this together. We're going to do it together. All right. So now let's go ahead and line this up. I got to remember to open my trade account today. So, and we're going to fund it. So you got to figure out, are y'all going to do the $100, the $500? What are we going to do? And if you guys start your demo account, guess what? That is fine. So here it is triggered on the 15-minute for a buy, right? And as I look at that, you can see that when it's triggered, right? This was triggered here. And so let's go ahead and check my hour. That's a very valid trigger. You see how it always rejects and it pulls off of a support resistance line. So you can kind of see what that's doing right there. So no, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now let's go up to the 4 hour. So I got trades running in mine. I gotta do a new one. So and you kind of look, I told y'all I swing trade too. So all right. So as I look, you can kind of see like the Euro NZD right here. And it's valid, but we're overbought, right? We're overbought. So I just kind of want you guys to like really pay attention, right? Really pay attention. So, like to support a resistance, I need you guys to kind of like look at the big picture of the market. And so it's a valid trigger. It's a very valid trigger. All right. And so what you're waiting on is that, so can I do EJ? Yes, we can do EJ. Let me pull it up. So you guys see that one? Any questions, comments, or testimonies on that? So let's go ahead and get that one. All right, so Trying to see which one I can. All right, but that's the same. All right. So here, so no trigger on that one right this moment. And that's okay. So let's go ahead and let's see what we are, because anytime that you get in here, this is pretty much how you look at the market, right? You're looking at it like this. Now, let me see. When you said it was valid but overbought, how would that impact the trade? How far it's gonna go before you get some pullback. The market cannot stay overbought or oversold. It just cannot. So is once you know it's overbought or oversold, that means at some point you need to be watching for that pullback to happen. That's what you're doing. You're watching for that pullback to happen. Because even if it still goes like for example, if I look at these, right, let's say even if this is still gonna sell, right? Like you can see where I'm at in the market, even if it's gonna sell, I'm not selling until I pull back some. You know, if it breaks through there, then that's based on some sort of liquidity push, like some sort of news event, like 815. But at some point, like you might see a spike with the news. Like let's just say, hypothetically speaking, it's real good for the US dollar. All right. So I might get a spike that breaks through here, you know, and it might tap down, let's say, this is hypothetical. So let's say right here, it pushes down. I didn't mean to bring the chart. It breaks down, it pulls down, and then it pulls back up, right? Because like this will be that point, but the spike will come down and then it'll pull back up. Because if it's positive for US dollar is that counter currency here, which means that it'll be stronger than GBP, which means the market is going to sell, right? Because the price, how many dollars it costs to buy a GBP is the dollar is stronger. So obviously it'll cost less dollars to buy a GBP because it's stronger than GBP. So that's why the market's going to sell. And so when the market sells, but it's going to pull back up, like let's say to this point. Now, at some point, the market has to correct, right? So that's that initial impact. But so here, the market should pull up, right? However, the news can push it down and then it'll pull back up, do its correction, then continue to sell. So this is not really in an overbought territory, oversold territory right now, but this one is. So you notice that when it got here, and this is another scenario that can happen, you just can't predict it. So here, you notice that we were oversold. This is where we were. The market pulled back up a little bit. It didn't go like, so for the one we just laid out with those 3 take profits, this is where the market, quote unquote, should have went, right? And that's why I say I can't tell you that it's going to hit that take profit 3. This one didn't even hit the take profit 1. You notice, but it did pull up because it cannot just keep going in an oversold. It just can't. At some point, it has to stop. And so now you see that it corrected a little bit, but it's trying to pull back through there, right? And I'm quite sure that has a lot to do with the fundamentals as well. Does that make sense to answer your question? All right, so let's go back over here to EJ. So just let me know if that answers your question. Okay, great. Great. All right, so here, what I'm looking at, right? So you asked for EJ, same scenario. It's sitting on the support line. I look to the left, sitting on the support line. Coming up here to my 4 hour, and you can see we're sitting on that, right? We're sitting on that. Now, did this market come down here before? Absolutely. You know, but this is what we are. So, and we're oversold. Am I really looking for this to push through? Same scenario, same thing. Kind of pulling up there. This is just, and that's why this looks like it's got so much consolidation, because what you're actually looking at is the rejection. So if I come here, right? So, I mean, I'm not too caught up on this one. I'm actually pull this up just a little bit because that's, you know, one support and resistance line to another. You really still have one that rejected there in the past. They rejected off of here and right now. So as I'm looking at this, if I put this around where we're getting rejected and I drop down, you can definitely see like where that rejection is happening. Now, if I pull this back up and I put a one around the big picture where this has been getting rejected, and we drop down, you can see all that. That's why it looks like that. That's why it looks so choppy. And that's where traders beware, right? That's why I say you need to know what's going on a higher time frame. I don't care if you're a scalper. I don't care, what you are. You need to pay attention to what's going on a higher time frame, even if you're a scalper, because this is where my scalpers get caught. This is why my scalpers have inconsistency, because they think that they don't need to understand the higher time frames. They think that they don't need to understand the big picture of the market. All I want to do is get in and out. Well, you still need to understand what's going on, right? You still need to understand what's going on. And so this is where you guys get caught up at, because this is rejected on a higher time frame because it's not pushing through. And you guys are looking at this like, I'm gonna take this trade. Well, why? But even if I do take it, I need to understand what's happening. So I know that, this is where you might not get those 10 pips. We get caught on those 10 pips. This is where the 8% can get you. I'm trying to increase your 92%. So why do you think some individuals have 100%, right? Why do you think some people walk in 98% and walk in 90, just higher than 92? Because they understand the big picture. And, I can just tell you, even like our pimp master, when she does her basics, she's a scalper, but she pays attention to the big part of the market, and she consistently is hitting 100% weeks. So I just, want you guys to understand, that it's important. It's important, because this is why you guys will sit at 92, or even some of you all be like 75. And the strategy is not 75. That I can tell you, if you're somewhere around there, like even when we looked at the one where the stochastic was up, that's what you're not paying attention to. So the strategy was never in alignment. So that's where we are. All right. This is where you guys get caught. Guy, you have to look at the big picture of the market. It's no way around it. And the reason why we're spending so much time walking you through these trades like this is, I promise you, you're welcome. I promise you, I know how to do a call. I know how to get on here and hype it up. I know how to, let's get in here. Here's your take profit. This your stop loss. It's never created wealth for anybody. All of that hoopla, it's never created wealth for anybody. It's never, never, never. You might go buy some lunch, but you're going to make more donations than you are going to make withdrawals. And that's not what we're here for. Not at all. And so, so, hey, if you want to make a donation, I'm more than happy to drop my Cash App in the chat. If you just want to make a donation, I'm more than excited to get y'all my Cash App. Like, just put on there market donation, when you Cash App me. So for this one, would you wait until it breaks out of the rejection? Absolutely. That's my trading style though. So like I just like I just mentioned, I got some swing trades going on, and those, can sit for, days, you know what I mean? So, but that's your trading style. So that's why I pointed it out, if you're a scalper, you need to know what's happening. So I no longer trade inside of those areas when I know it's kind of sitting right there. I wait for it to come out. I wait. I operate that patience, profit. So that's where you get caught. See, look how it works out. So even when the market is not moving, it's still important to get up and get on the calls, because then we have training opportunities. And that's why I always ask you guys to ask those questions, because had the question not been asked, then we wouldn't have went over it. So it's an opportunity for you all. It's a big opportunity. And now you have more clarity. So now what that means is you'll apply it, you'll implement it, and now your percentage is going to increase. So, and we want withdrawals. We want withdrawals. We want withdrawals. We want withdrawals. We want withdrawals, not donations. Could you give me greater clarity? And you hit 777. Now, I didn't say you had to look at the daily. And so how are your trades working out for you? Because I'm not trying to bring confusion into your life. How are your trades working out for you? You're cashing out. What's your percentage, right? What's your percentage? So, you know, and what I need for all of you all to do, and I'm gonna drop this in the chat. Well, if you're live, definitely. You can do it with a demo, but I want you all to use your online trade journal, right? And that's gonna help you understand, like, what was your pullback? You know, so, you know, so that means you're getting it. Off the last 5 have been take profits. That means you're getting it. Just perfect what you've been doing, right? All of us have a different trading style. You know, just kind of perfect what you've been doing. So I would need to know where you entered the market, right? I would have to be able to see what you see. So I would have to be able to see what you see. We walk through this top-down analysis, though. This is where it is. It's rejecting off of this line, all right? But we walk through this. So I don't know if you took a buy. I don't know if you took a sale. I don't know where you got an entry point. I don't know you take profit. So don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. If it's working, keep letting it work. That means you're seeing something right. You might not totally understand what you're seeing right, but keep doing. Perfect practice makes perfect. And so perfect practice makes perfect. And it's a reason why you closed out at 7 pips instead of 10. So that tells me in itself that there is something that you're understanding, right? Because you didn't do a take profit for 10 pips. You did a take profit at 7 pips. So why did you do a take profit at 7 pips? Did you just do it to that support and resistance line? That means that there is something that's being understood, all right? So just continue to, don't shift what you're doing, just continue to grow your skill set, all right? That's where you have to live. You are welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. So yeah, just keep doing it. Cause if you, I mean, that's good. That's 100%. That's good. So always celebrate your success. I tell you guys all the time, we look at the thing like 6 figures, right? What happens if what happens if I only make $50,000? You know, what happens? The average salary is what, about 32, 33 a year? So what happens if I only make 40,000 and not 6 figures? What happens? I'm gonna celebrate my success. What happens if we push it for $100 days, but yet you didn't make $100 today, but all your trades end in profit? What happens if all I see is blue and we're riding a wave? Celebrate your success. Always celebrate your success. If you get in the car to go somewhere, I get in my car and I say, you know what? I'm going to the mall, I'm going to the store, I'm going X, Y, and Z. Wherever it is you're going, you need to focus on the finish line because you have to be able to get there. But you have to also realize I'm no longer at home. I got in the car and I left and I'm on my journey. So if I'm halfway there, that means that that's progress. So you want to celebrate your success, right? You don't want to allow the stoplights that we get caught at, or, the detours in the road. We don't allow any of that. The GPS is going to reroute you and keep going. So just reroute, celebrate your success along the way, and keep going. So what you're doing is increasing your skill set, but we need to celebrate the fact that, 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, I didn't even understand what a green candle meant. And now I took 5 trades and they all at 100%. So I salute you right there. Questions, comments, testimonies, guys. Questions, comments, testimonies. All right. Well, we know it's Wednesday. We know what today is. Now, do not forget, we definitely have news. So I told y'all I was going to do this. So it was just going to be like, you know what? I was moving, but it's still 5 o'clock. So we just going to sit here till after 5 o'clock. The market is funny like that. So, but it's consistent. So, just, kind of pay attention to your indices in between the call. Definitely pay attention to these. You see, it's like, why do you do me like this? Why do you do me like this? No, but just pay attention to them. 8:15 is coming. So we don't have a call till 9 o'clock. So just kind of pay attention to those USDs. Just pay attention to the market, okay? We definitely should get some movement. Let's just pay attention. And where's my gold? Yeah. All right. So all of this we should get some movement. around 8:15. And then of course, I'll see you today at 9 a.m. And of course, once again, at 9 o'clock for our HFX with our trading diva. All right, guys. So with that being said, I love each and every last one of you all. I will see ya at 9 a.m. God's will. And you are very, very, very welcome. Be blessed.